What's good with it in the hood with it? Today we're going to react. We're going to react a little bit. No, a lot of it. We're going to react a lot of it about a little bit. We're going to react to Big Herc, fresh out, respects to Big Herc, the Panda Man, right? We're going to respect this guy as far as we can throw him. But in real life, what I'm going to do is I'm going to react to one of his famous videos called A Shot Caller Critiques the Movie Shot Caller. Now, a lot of us have seen the movie Shot Caller. I've watched it. You've watched it. Now, going through the California Department of Correction system, going through prison in California, the state system, there's a lot of things that you learn along the way. You know, I've had the privilege or the honor or the whatever it is, guard, I can't call it, right? I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot along the way about every faction, every different group, whether it be the Woods, sprinkle them in, brother. The brothers from another mother, right? The Southsiders or the Norteños, either way, and the other car. Can't forget about my Asian partners and my Usos. What's up, Sole? Right? You learn a lot about the politics, the daily programs, you know, the chow halls, what's going on that yard. Shh, don't talk about it, right? But there's a lot going on. Now, the movie Shot Caller came out several years back, and I couldn't wait to watch it. I had seen the trailers, the previews, and I said, you know what? I got to watch this movie. This looks like my kind of movie. I could sit back, maybe a little over Redenbacher and get to it, right? And I did. And for the most part, I enjoyed the movie. It wasn't the greatest cinematic film ever made, but it did have a strong message. Message being, your ass get locked up, you can stay forever. Now, there was a lot of inconsistencies in this movie. Just like there's a lot of inconsistencies in Hollywood when it comes to a lot of these prison movies. They put a lot of hot sauce on it. But hey, just like YouTube, it's their story. We're going to let them tell it, right? You take from it what you will. You grasp the concepts and the things that you want to grasp. And that's just how it is, right? But this guy supposedly on Big Herc's channel is a shot caller. Someone who is really in the mix. It looks like he's a wood. Sprinkle me. I said, what you gonna do, brother, when the wood pile comes down on you? Right? And you just know what it is, man. I want to hear his perspective. I want to hear what he has to say about the movie. Because like I said, man, the movie was decent. I think it belittled the northern raza. I think it made the norteños look bad. But of course, what movie doesn't when it comes to Hollywood? I think they got a bias. But that's just me. Okay? It was more focused on this white man that went to prison and just found himself caught up in the system. And it can happen, man. I've seen people in real life that went in as just a regular guy, had a regular job, got caught up, DUI, something like that, and they do all day, right? It turns you, your ways of thinking from a man into an animal. But you got to remember at all times, in order to not go that route and to lose your sanity, and to not lose your sanity, you have to stay focused right here within your mind. Don't worry about what's going on out there. Worry about what's going on right in front of you, not all around you. You know, that's where awareness comes in. With that being said, let's get to it. I hope you guys enjoy this reaction. We gonna get to it. Bang, bang. Let's react.
Yeah. Man, that dude's come in with, we had a guy in Arizona, man, Bonsai Bob.
Not Bonsai
came
Bob.
In for jacking a car 5 years. Ended up getting a death penalty. Ended up death penaltying him, man. He was just butchering cellies. Celly after celly after celly, man. Butchering. They call him Bonsai Bob.
Once he got into the system, he just lost it and just started just on one, or just didn't care, or really no hope, or.
So I don't know what it is about Big Herc, but every time I see him, it makes me want to say, I thought I thought putty tat. I don't know. Let's just get to it. That's just my thinking every time I see him. But let's get to it.
You know what, man? I don't know if it's that you don't care. I mean, take myself for example, man. I went into prison as a kid, and I was 20-something years old, man. And even though I was highly involved in gangs already, I wasn't at the level that I got to when I got into prison, man. Yeah. I walked into Central Unit, man, and it was time, man. I was gonna make people know who I was. I wanted that notoriety. So I think a lot of times it's not just like you go to prison and then like prison changes you. I think a lot of times you get into prison, you're already mentally starting to work on becoming somebody that you don't even know who you are.
I absolutely 100% agree with this guy. He's right. You get there, you kind of look around you, see what's going on, look at the program, and you make a decision. You know, I made that decision. I made that decision as a minor. I made that decision as an adult. I remember passing Bakersfield, California, and I was on that Green Goose shackled going to Nellis, Fred C. Nellis, the youth authority. and it didn't seem real to me. I was going to my enemy's backyard. I was going to be vastly outnumbered. I thought it was all fun and games. We were sitting there on that bus, laughing, looking around. Now you got to understand, we had been incarcerated for a while, so you hadn't got to see the streets. So I'm looking around, and then I think when I passed Bakersfield is when I realized I am now in Southern California. It has now gotten real, and I had to make that decision. Was I gonna be some sucker and some punk and roll it up and do that, or was I gonna stand my ground for what I truly believed in my people? Sometimes the circumstances of your environment make you make decisions like that. So I absolutely agree with him. When you go into prison, you're trying to make a name for yourself. You figure that if you make a name for yourself, you'll gain respect. If you gain respect, less people will mess with you. But in the end, what usually happens when you do this is all eyes on you. You become that one willing to go put yourself on frontline status, willing to put yourself out there, and you're just going to be utilized more and more. So let's see how it worked out for this guy. No, it didn't work out great for me. Guard.
And prison makes you that. You know what I mean? It gives you that platform. But like I think a lot of us already had it.
Well, for instance, like in that movie, that guy, I think he had a family. You know, he had he was getting visits. You know, I think he had a great job on the street. What would make a person turn to that, man? I mean, you know, did he get hooked on drugs inside, or did it just a mental switch?
Well, it's a movie. Big Herc. Shot Caller was a movie. If he was hooked on drugs inside, it would have showed him doing drugs on side. No, he didn't get hooked on drugs on side. He did it out of a necessity. Remember when Bottles told him, "You're going to get your hands dirty around here." So he got his hands dirty a little bit. He got caught up in a bad situation, got seen on camera, and that's the gist of the movie. I'm not trying to, for those of you that haven't watched the movie Shot Caller, make sure that you watch it. I'm not trying to kill it for you, but that was it. But I know what Big Herc's saying. He's saying the average man. If the average man found himself in that situation, what would it be? And it could be all those in one. People get hooked on the dope game. They get hooked on the gambling. They get hooked on being that one, hanging with the fellas and trying to prove yourself. Sometimes it's the canalismo, the love that you're being shown by the brothers, man, whether it be the brothers or the woods. Sprinkle them in. I love saying that word, sprinkle them in. I love it. I just love it, brother, right? Or the north or south. You get around a lot of heavy hitters or a lot of people that have really been there in that life. You try to blend in. So let's see what happens.
Because even when, in the movie, when the guy, he, was booking people in prison and he finally got out, and then he was still, because of what his status was active on the street. So
that's what I mean, man. It's like, so I think, even when you watch that movie, right, and you could see when he was playing basketball with his friends, he was kind of like a pushy kind of guy. You could see that he was like, they would push on him and he would like want to go at him, right?
So, on the street when he was playing before,
Yeah, before.
Yeah.
And then when he went into prison, right, got the DUI, went into prison, he had to make himself, he wasn't going to let nobody push him around, right? Because somebody told him that you can't let nobody take advantage of you in prison.
And that's exactly the mentality that you have to have, gente. If you find yourself, unfortunately, in a situation where you're locked up, you're incarcerated, one of my favorite lines from that movie that he made or he said was, I ain't here to start no shit, but I ain't going to take nothing either. And that's the mentality you have to have. I'm not here to cause problems. I'm not here to be that loud one. I'm not here to be doing this and doing that. But I ain't going to take nothing either, man. You're not going to punk me, take my stuff, clap my cheeks, as Big Herc would like to say, right? You're not going to clap my cheeks, the cheek buster himself. You're just not going to do any of that. So he was going to hold it down for what he truly believed in. And like this guy said, man, he seemed to be a pushy individual that was a born leader. Some people have that. They have that charisma. They have that leadership quality in them. It's instilled within them. Guard! What are you doing? Right? They have that. One thing I can say for sure is you need that. You need that eye of that tiger. You need that special something that comes with going to prison and knowing that you're not going to go out like that. If you're not prepared, you're not mentally prepared, you're not physically prepared, you're not ready, bad things, and I said bad things will happen to you. Let's get to it.
That's a lot of times how it happens, man. You hold somebody's dope or you hold somebody's piece or, you know what I mean? You become his dude, whatever you want to call it. And I mean that gay way. I mean, like, you're the guy, you're the big man's guy for a while, and then next thing you know, you're putting in work, you're becoming that guy.
Yeah, and in the movie, he worked his way up the hierarchy to where he actually became, what they call it, Is it
He's a brother, man.
Yeah,
he became a brother.
Became a brother.
Yeah.
And then at that point, you're basically, you're calling shots, guards, and doing stuff for you. You're on a whole nother level.
Yeah. And then at the end, you watch the movie. At the end, he kills the main dude, right? He kills the dude that's running the whole system.
And that was fantasy because that would have never taken place. But that's neither here nor there. It's Hollywood. It's a movie. It was a movie. It was a good movie. Like I said, not a great one. But he definitely worked his way up to the top, and it happens, man. You see some of the people that you would never think. I've met guys in CYA that were level there, that were no good, that were sucking chorra. I've met guys that were definitely just not cut from the same cloth as some of us were. And then you get to prison, man, and they're that one. They're over here with the ranfla, they're over here with the carro doing their thing. And I always reflect back. Did I bust him out and say, hey, he was double fisty? Nah, I don't do that. Because, what happened and why I guess didn't matter. I'm going to be totally honest with you. If there was someone on my tira that was fucking had a chorra in his mouth, I would have told him straight up, hey, you got to go, homie. Or did something bad to him. Because remember, if you say something without paperwork to prove it or without black and white, man, now it becomes your problem. So when you're in prison, you don't want to take on more problems than you already have. But that wasn't the case. It wasn't like I seen every dude doing that. But there were cats that were doing that. It didn't matter what side they were on. It's just a trip, right? But this guy's dead on. He did work his way up. And let's see more. Let's hear more of this guy. I like this guy right here. This guy, he seems like a solid brother.
Yeah, they put him in there in Gladiator Pit.
He kills the dude that ran the whole system. Now he's running the whole system. So, yeah, that can happen, man.
And was he considered, was that based on an AB?
Yeah, that's based on Aaron Brotherhood. I mean, there was some skinhead parts in there too, man. But, yeah, definitely.
So, for somebody like that, even during the time he got out, is he obligated to still have to carry out things on the street to provide? Or was that a choice he made once he got out? Because remember, he was out for a minute. He kind of went and looked at his old family, but he still was involved in, then he had to take out one of his homies.
So, and also you remember in that movie, the main dude told him if he doesn't do what he's told him he's going to do, he's going to go after his family.
That's right.
So when he got...
Big Herc said, because what he had to do was he had to go out... Big Herc, man, this guy's too much. I laugh at him, but I laugh with him as well, man. Good dude right there, One thing I will say is this guy that he's brought on is legit. He's not Wes Watson, as you can tell. He's not screaming. He's not all swole, 450 pounds of muscle, liver king. He's basically telling you straight up exactly the way it is. He's got the ink to match. I could see the OC tats. I could see some of the skinhead memorabilia that he has on his neck and just a few things that he's got going on that I could identify. And I see it's the symbolization of what he once was, which was probably a skin. Now, there's a vast difference between the woods and skins. I've told you guys about it before in other videos. One thing that this guy is saying is he's giving you guys the straight rundown, the legit rundown on how it is in prison. So I really, really like this guy. I might need to get a hold of this guy. This guy right here has a story to tell.
Got out, right? He was obligated to do because they were holding that over his head. That was his whole purpose. That's why he went back to prison.
To take care of that dude because he didn't want nothing to happen to his previous family.
Like, mentally wise, he wanted to go back to his family. He wanted to get out and be done, right? But he couldn't. They held it over his head.
Wow.
And does that happen? Absolutely.
Wow. So you got people who are basically, they try to, you can't get away from it.
You can't. You can, but it's hard.
Yeah, because, there was somebody else we had on the channel.
It's at this exact moment Big Herc is thinking, I wonder if I'm going to have a hamburger or ribs for dinner, right? I like how Big Herc invests in the conversation. He asks the right questions at the right time. This guy definitely giving him the real answers. Very inquisitive, this guy Big Herc, man. I think that's why the longevity of his channel has continued. I was once going to be on Big Herc's channel, man. It just didn't work out. It fell through, man. Timing and scheduling just wasn't up to par with me and him. But I'm definitely going to look to the future. And maybe one day I can collab with Big Herc on something, suffering succotash.
He was badgering. He was saying how he went in for something minor. And this is how easy you can get caught up. You heard somebody talking about something. And they said, and you're trying to be cool. So they're like, hey, old boy, he's blah blah blah. And they said, well, is that right? Go handle it. Oh, what do you mean handle it? So now you done opened up because you done heard something or repeated something, and now you put yourself in a situation where you got to be a torpedo. Mm-hmm. You know, have you seen stuff like that happen too, where guys overstep like by trying to thinking they're cool, repeating something or bringing something to the table, and now it's opened up a whole nother can of worms.
Oh,
it's exactly what I just told you guys. You know, when you bring something to the table, bring something to the light, like, hey, this Valter was doing this over here, and over here in Corcoran he was this way, and or over here in Solano he was that way, or over here in Salinas Valley he was this way. Now it's up to you to handle that business. Now it's up to you to make it right. It's up to you to come up with the necessary paperwork to show, you know, that the words that you're saying, the slander that you're doing, the defecation of character on this man is now on you. And if you don't handle it, then you're going to be handled. I think every group thinks the same way for the most part. That's why you keep your mouth shut. You know, loose lips see ships. And unless you want your battleship sunk, you're going to keep quiet.
All the time. That happens all the time.
Facts.
I mean, and the reason why it happens, like in that scenario, is like if you're talking dirt on some dude, be ready to handle it. Be ready to take care of it.
That's
man.
right. That's right.
I mean, if I'm talking shit about some dude, man, and he hits the yard, I better be ready to handle my business.
That's right.
Because if not,
Absolutely.
they're going to take care of me, and then they're going to go take care of that dude.
And see, that's the thing about it too, because somebody would be sitting there on the yard and thinking, oh man, you know, boy, he was at, you know, and some dudes actually, you know, coerce a guy. You're talking, what about so and so? Oh yeah, man, he was a buzz, boop boop bop, bop bop bop, and then, oh, you know, so and so's he's in R&D.
Yeah.
He about to.
Yeah.
So, handle your business. Oh, he's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in R&D, bro. He's getting processed right now. He's gonna be in the yard.
Exactly. And as soon as he's done being processed, you will need to run up on the next yard. They don't wait. There's no waiting period in prison. That's one thing. Drama is real. Nobody wants a shady character on the yard because it messes up the flow or the vibe of the yard. There's a lot going on that not only involves you and your people, but also everyone else. And if you mess up the program without saying too much, you know, then it could cause something that could, you know, blow out of proportion, something real big. And nobody wants that. Nobody needs that. People like their recetas, they like their cantina, their packages, you know, the creature comforts, what you can have, the Zuzus, the Wham Whams, the Little Debbies, oh man, right? They like that. So in order to continue that flow and continue the progress of what's going on in the penitentiary, word of the day, penitentiary, on the yarda, you need to handle your business within your own carro. And that's usually how it goes down. So again, I like what Big Herc's saying. I like what this guy's saying. I love what I'm saying.
Yeah, at lunchtime. And it's like, dude, it changes everything.
Yeah. He either goes and takes off from the yard or he handles his business. That's the only two things that happen.
Yeah, it's crazy like that. I've seen that happen, and I've also seen where, you know, within the two factions of different black cars on the yard, make two dudes like, you guys go handle your business. Both of y'all was, you know what I mean? And it's like everybody's watching, and if you don't handle it, they're gonna book you.
That's it.
So it's basically, you know, and these dudes, you could tell they were scared to death, man.
Yeah.
They both have blinkies on them, and they had to go. And they had to handle it, man. You know, I mean, they couldn't go back to the unit without handling it. You know, so I know that happens a lot.
And that's a fact, man. You're gonna go to the yard, and if you have to handle your business, you will not be allowed back into that building until someone's gonna leave. You guys are both gonna leave. One's gonna be going to the SHU or to the Hoyo to administrative segregation. The other one should be going to the hospital, or both of you quite possibly will be going to the hospital or the Hoyo. Whatever the case may be, you're not just coming back. Like that, you know, not when it gets to that point of violence and it gets to that point of handling your business. Oh yes, there will be sangre. Let's get to it.
You know, a lot of people think, oh man, it's like, you know, what would you do? You really ain't got no choice.
You don't have no choice. You don't have no choice, man. It's literally kill or be killed in there sometimes, man. Which one are you gonna do?
So when you were in the feds, were you, you know, allowed at any point to interact with anybody black or Hispanic?
Yeah, you can interact. You can't really do deals that much. You know what I mean? You deal with your own. You know what I mean? Especially in a pen, man. In a penitentiary, man, you're with your car, man. And So of course, you hang out and talk, and
In passing or something.
even like playing cards and stuff. You're cool playing with other races, man. But don't get in debt with other races. You know what I mean? You don't owe other races, because the fact of the matter is, and they're not going to let you get in too far in debt with them, knowing what you can and can't do.
That's right.
For the simple fact is that in the feds, man, if I owe you, and I feel like I don't want to pay you, you can't do nothing to me.
Yeah.
You run your by people.
Exactly, and he's absolutely right. I've never done federal time, but I understand the philosophy behind it. You can't do something to another race. You can't do something to another car, another faction, because, like I said, it'll escalate and it's going to become a big thing. And if a guy decides that he gets too far in debt gambling or whatever the case may be, and he decides, man, I'm just not going to pay you, it's not like you can just run up and book him. You can, but then you're going to be in bad standings within your own car for putting everyone's safety and security in jeopardy. So the best thing to do in an instance like that is to get at your people, and then they reprimand you and DP you for even finding yourself caught up in that type of mischievous behavior or conflict. It's a catch-22, man. It's a serious situation when you're in prison. That's why you avoid gambling, drugs, things of that nature, because it'll never work out for you. I got something in my eye. I don't know if it's a roach or bed bug or something. I don't know. Can't call it. Ghetto.
People and tell them to do something about it, but I mean, you got to prove it. You know what I mean? Like, it's your word against mine, and that doesn't happen, because that's why people don't interact that way.
Yeah, I tell a lot of people too that everybody's watching everything you're doing. So, like you said, if somebody sees you at the gambling poker table, they're like, Garrett, man, I see you at the poker table, man. What's going on over there? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Or they see with so and so, and they're like, hey man, the homie said you're making money on the yard. What's going on? I mean, everything is right there. You're under a microscope every day, man.
A microscope.
So I know a
Don't
lot
be
of
under
that
the microscope.
You have eyeballs on you even when you think you don't have eyeballs on you.
Always. In the feds, it's tension too, man. There's always tension on the yard. You can walk outside. I mean, from the time they crack the doors to the time they lock the doors, you're in boots. You're suited and booted, man. Just like you see in movies and hear in movies. In the feds, that's really what it is, man. If I went to the shower, man, I went to the shower with two dudes walking me to the shower, standing outside, and they're knifed up.
That's right.
Because they're waiting, because somebody might try to come get me in the shower. You don't know. It's at any point in time in the feds that they come.
Absolutely, man. This guy, his get down is so real, right? The buddy system, man. You gotta have a poste. You go to take a licazo on the yard. They got a lot of toilets and latrines on the yard. And you need to take a piss. Some prisons have showers on the yard. No one takes their clothes off. They'll just get up under them. Wes Watson should have did that in the last video I did after he worked out 10 times before he even showered. But there's vulnerable states. Anytime where your back's turned to people or you're vulnerable, you got to have a poster to stand with you. He's pieced up, ready, so no one can get you from behind. So this guy's telling the actual factual truth, man. Nothing he has said is incorrect yet. Or incorrect. How do you say it? I don't know.
Have you ever seen anything like that, like go down? Because I know I seen a dude try to rush a dude in the shower, and he came out of there hollering. Dude had a knife right in the shower with him.
Yeah, you do.
You know
everybody in the feds has a knife on them. I don't care who. If you're about something, you are.
Yeah.
You have a knife on you all the time. Usually either
Stay
titanium
strapped.
or plastic.
Yeah.
Go through metal detectors, right?
That's right, yeah.
But you're all or ceramic.
Ceramic, yeah. I've seen guys when they melt down, they'll get, it looks like a goddamn cylinder where they melt it down. It's like a long ass thing, and it's like you said, it don't go off a metal detector, and dude just have it up on them.
Yeah,
and
always.
It's like it's like a plastic that they done melted down over a course of a week. And that thing's like a cold. It's like an icicle.
Dude, I've seen maybe 2 or 3 fist fights in the feds, and I've seen probably hundreds of stabbings.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no fist, meaning is there's no one-on-one fist fight in the feds.
No, ain't no.
And that's prison in general. You're not going to see a lot of one-on-one fist fights, man. Like I said, if it's going to go to violence, then it's going to go to extreme violence. It's just the way it is. Anyways, I'm going to end this one right here. We will definitely do a part 2 and react to the rest of this video. I thought that this was a great one. For those of you that really wanted an in-depth insight into prison, I didn't see nothing wrong but I Big Hurt think he'll clap somebody booty cheeks. He didn't say that, but you know what I'm saying, man. I'm just clowning Big Hurt. Respects, man, to your channel and what you got going on, my brother. At the end of the day, I hope that you guys enjoyed this reaction. We're going to get to part 2 here within the next day or two, and we're going to make it happen. I hope you enjoyed it. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. Get every single thing that you want coming to you. Remember, at the end of the day, man, don't start no stuff, won't be no stuff. If you don't want to go to prison and get some ceramic put in your booty clap, then don't go to prison. You already know what it is, man. If you like this, hit that like and subscribe with a thumbs up. If not, thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears this crown. Guard! I just like saying that.